Graham, last night's done and dusted, but just a quick reflection. What's the response been from everyone since that first league defeat of the season?
Well, we spoke about it this morning with a group of players that we wanted to sort of go over a couple of issues from last night, or a couple of instances where we felt we could improve and do better. We want to create an environment where we take on responsibility, we take on accountability, what we could all do better, myself included, and just be honest with each other straight away. No dancing around it. Let's try and get better together. And what I've found so far is the players have responded really well to that. You know, in the meetings, in their feedback, they do know the game. You know, when we listen to them, and when we give information. But I know in the helter-skelter of a game of football that you can sometimes lose focus or make the wrong decision in a split second, and it's just trying to go over those things over and over again, where it becomes second nature to make the right decision. And it's a process we're going through. We're 4 games into a new team, so I've been delighted with their progress in that short period. But we also understand, and we all have to understand where we need to improve. But they've been, you know, we're positive types of guys, and it's nothing about, you know, I'm not angry at the players from last night. I think look, I can see how it hurts them to get beat. That's the biggest thing. If I think they didn't care, then there could be an issue. But I don't see that at all in any of them. So I know the motivation there is to win the next game.
And a deep-rooted fear of losing. There's not wanting to lose,
yeah,
which is all well and good, which everyone should want. But that fear of losing can be very negative within a team, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think fear is a negative in any walk of life, but fear is there. It's how you control it. You know, that's it, and how you approach it, and you can't hide away from it. You have to sort of take it, you know, full on. You know, that's the thing. That's why people jump out of planes and stuff like that. I'm sure there's a bit of fear factor, but it's overcoming that fear. You know, and that's what we have to do as professional footballers when we go into the arena and the crowd are baying and the points are on the table. That's when we have to have that focus and that positive sort of mentality to do what it takes to win the game. And that's what we're trying to not just create, but actually empower the players to take on themselves. Because I think we've got real good experience and good professionals who want to win. You know, that's what we've seen. They wouldn't have been able to get through pre-season, start the season so well if there wasn't a desire to win there. So we have to tap into that and encourage it and build it really.
Stuck record time. We're going to talk about the transfer window and players coming in. I mean, it's inevitable. We're going to have to talk about this.
Yep.
Where's the club at? Are they actively, you know, looking for players to bring in at the moment? Is there anything in the pipeline?
Yeah, but I don't know how long the pipeline is. Is it coming from the North Sea or is it coming from Alaska? I don't know yet. So no, 100% we are working. 100% we're talking to agents. We're talking to other clubs about their players. You know, we're in. You know, when we're trying to recruit players, the control is in other people's hands. You know, it's only when we're selling players or letting players go where we have the most control. But I've got a meeting today with Liam and the chairman, you know, after, you know, this afternoon, to sort of narrow down on where we are on those potential signings, any outgoings, things like that, general business, and hopefully we will get the work done that we're trying to do, but we're not in full control of that. That's the bottom line. But we know what we need to do. You know, we're quite clear on that. We've been clear on that since before we even kicked a ball in the season. Those elements haven't changed. I think we've got a real good group of players that will definitely need a bit more support over the next 9 months, 9.5 months. It's not just about the next game. It's about 9.5 months of the trials and tribulations of professional football and making sure that we're strong enough to compete in every single game to win. So Yeah, but look, it's frustrating because it's probably been a little bit of a spell since our last signing. But we don't see other clubs signing, 4 and 5 players either at this time. I think it's really difficult, and I know what happens is becomes a lull, and then 3 days before the window shuts, everyone goes mental.
We see it every year, don't we? Every single year. I'm never quite sure why that's.
Well, I think, listen, it's time, isn't it? And it forces people to make decisions. That's what it is. When there's time on people's hands, they can hold out for more. They can line up potential sort of replacements for what they might want to do and stuff like that. The closer you get to the end, time squeezes decisions out of people. That's the reality. And so it's a frustrating thing, but from experience, we know that's the scenario, and we know we have to just keep that communication line open with clubs and players' agents to make sure when those decisions are made that people want to come and join us.
And of course, bringing in players is easier when there aren't several other teams in this division and maybe another division looking at exactly the same players, and that's probably the case, I have to say, at the moment.
Yeah, look, it's quite obvious there's some real fierce competition in League Two. That's taken League One out of the equation, and I would say the National League. There's teams in that division that can compete with us budget-wise as well. So, I would say a small group, a small pool of the players that we want to sign, not a small group of players available. That's a different kettle of fish. But what we want to sign, we're quite specific in the profile of the player that we need to bring in, and that narrows down the names. Then ones we can afford, that narrows it down a little bit more. Those ones that are potentially available narrows again. So it's not a massive pool where we can pluck any player out. So we'll work our hardest to get those players out. I do believe this is an environment and a club that a player will enjoy playing in and progressing their career. I really do think that. I think there's loads of positives about our club in general and at the moment, and what we want to do in the future. So hopefully that will be enough to convince the right players to come and join us.
Great opportunity on Saturday to bounce back from this first league defeat, isn't there? And Colchester not having the best of starts in the division, but they're another League Two side. They've got quality in there as well, so it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I think there's no form at the moment. Even there's not.
It's too early.
It's too early. Right. So, whatever the league table looks like at the minute, which I haven't got a clue, whether it will look like that in 6 months' time, I couldn't tell you, because I don't even know. I don't even know where we are, to be honest. At the minute, it's because it's irrelevant. I think we have to get points on the board and then see what progresses, because no one knows exactly how many points it is to be successful. It's not like a magic number and you hit that and that's success. So you just have to pick up points all the time, and just for me and my staff and my players, we just need to focus on our points tally going up as often as possible, and ignore what's happening around us, ignore what's happening with our next opponents. We cannot set our sort of standard of performance out by what the opposition will bring to the game. We have to have our own standards and our own levels, what we have to match and get to and increase, and regardless of what the opponent has done in the previous 3, 4, 5 games, whatever. If we keep that consistency, which is what I believe is the key to a successful season, if we can have that consistency of focus, preparation, mindset, approaching games, then that's what will lead to success, not differentiating between each opponent. Tactically we have to do that because obviously the teams are different, but the challenge will be the same. It will certainly have to be the same from us, but it will be the same from the opposition. Everyone will be motivated to win games, so we have to go there and make sure we're ready to earn the right to win a game.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay.
In an ideal world, then, how many players, when the window shuts, have you brought in?
Right. Look, in an ideal world, we know what number we need in our squad. Within 2 or 3, you're talking 20 to 23 players to compete at least until January, and that makeup of those players can be experienced, proven players, or it can be young players in there that are ready to compete at league level. But we know that sort of number is around the mark. We have to look at our squad, because look, there's players that we have calls from other clubs about some of our players, so that we have to be ready for any eventuality on that. But we know that the number we need to get. Now that will depend in the next 2 weeks what we have to recruit on any outgoings, on any players that we feel can improve us, and so it's really hard to. So I pretty much know what a minimum is that we need to bring in what we've got now, but whether we'll bring in more or less by the end of the window is anybody's guess at the minute. But we are talking about within our sort of our club, probably 8 to 10 players that we feel could improve us, and hopefully we'll get 2 or 3 of them.
It's one of those things, isn't it? It feels like it's a constantly moving machine, and anything can happen right up until the 11 o'clock deadline. Yeah,
unfortunately, because I like to go to bed. But it is, and I think it's really important. It's one of the things that it's because the importance of recruitment and supporting the players that we already have here. It's vital that we do that work and right till the last possible second, and we will do that. It's not ideal, but we will do that. I've been there many a time. I'm sure Liam and the chairman have, where you're there at 5 to 11 trying to get someone to sign a piece of paper, and that's it. But some of the best deals you can get at that time, because like I say, the time issue forces people to make decisions, and I actually prefer deadline day to the rest of the window, because it actually makes people, it clarifies people's minds, and it makes you make a decision. And I would like to think that we'll be in a positive position after that deadline. But like we've already seen, we've got one good enough team at the moment to win games of football. But I know what's coming over the next 9 months.
First opportunity we had to see Dawson Devoy in competitive action last night. There was an awful lot of pressure, I think, put on him last season. It's his first season in English football, and he was expected to fill big boots here. What have you made of him so far?
He's still having to earn that right to compete with your Alex Gilbeys, Ethan Robsons, MJ Williams. That's the benchmark for our team. And but the players understand. Like I said, I think it was last week, where the players all know where they stand, what they need to do to improve, how we will try and help them improve, because it's our role and responsibility to A, clarify where they need to improve, and then B, actually help them achieve that. And that I'm not just talking about young players. I'm talking about all the players, because I would hope all our players at this level either have a direct ambition to get in our team, or a direct ambition to play higher. And so that work will go on with all our individuals. But I had a chat with Dawson maybe I think a week to 10 days ago, in the office, and sat him down and asked him where he was, like mentally, how he thought of things, and then we talked about what he needed to do to push himself in the frame. I know it was mentioned I only made, I think, 1 or 2 subs in the first 2 games. It's we have, I think every player, the first lesson you have to understand about professional football is competition. I think it's like when we're trying to sign a player, I never guarantee a player that he'll start every single game, because I can't stick to that, because it's down to his performance. We're bringing him in with the purpose of being in the team, but it's down to your performances that will keep you in there. And we have this with all our players, that you don't get given it. It's not you're not at a bus stop waiting to get on the bus. It's like you have to make the bus stop and jump on it and then drive yourself. It's all those sort of things, and we have to make it clear to the players, and we will give them every opportunity to do that in training, to get on that bus on a Saturday. It's down to the players to A, sort of understand what we're trying to help them with, and then B, put it into action. It's about what you do. I learned that many years ago. You can talk a great game in an office with a manager, or I'm talking about myself as a player. But you have to go out and do it. Because people believe their eyes. And so what I like to see when a young player maybe knocks on my door and asks me, you know, because I think that's someone taking control of his career and he cares. Others are a little bit shyer, so I'll leave it a bit of time, then I'll pull them in and say, are you bothered? Of course I am. Well, come and see me. You know, it doesn't have to be a conflict. We want to help you. Ideally for me, I have 20 players that I can pick from week in, week out, competing to be in the team. So we have to push the standards, push the levels of all these players, and make them understand what it's to be successful for the long term, you know, and give them the base of a 10-15 year career. What I've seen from Dawson in the last 10 days, he's grasped that nettle in training. He's gone, right, I'm really clear on what I have to do. He's shown us it in training, and then he got his opportunity last night, and I thought he made a real good impact in the game. So that's the process we're going through. All the players, we care about every single player we have at MK Dons, or wherever we are as coaches. But ultimately, it will be down to the player to put into action. But they'll always be clear on what's expected of them. So listen, the door is open for him and others.